Alright shredders, today we're going to have a look at some common manualling mistakes. So if you've been having a bit of trouble with your manual technique, stay tuned and we'll see if we can help you out. We're also going to help my friend Cath here, see if we can sort her technique out too. So let's see how we get on. So if you've seen my very first video about how to manual, you'll remember it's actually a really strong movement in the hips and you're just bringing them down and then back, and that pops the front wheel up. That's just something a little bit like this.
How did you do that?
Well, for a quick recap, you can check out my video up here, or otherwise just stay tuned and we'll get Cath manualing like me.
So I have watched your video,
Yeah.
but I'm finding it's still not quite working for me.
Okay, well let's have a look and see what you're doing and then we can take it from there. So I filmed Cath in slow-mo and we're just checking out what she did. You can see she's got a good down on the back. But then, as that front wheel starts to come up, what's actually happening is she's throwing her head forward. So that's countering, the front wheel's trying to come up, but the head is pushing it back down again. So what I'm going to get you to do next time is to try and keep your head up. Also, I noticed that you could probably come down and back, but come down lower. Your bum's still quite high above the saddle. So that's two quite common mistakes. It's not coming down low enough, and also sort of as you come up throwing your head forward, which is obviously there's a lot of weight in that head. It's really going to stop that bike coming up at the front. So we'll see how you get on next time with this next one. Exactly. Yeah, that was way better. Let's have a quick look at the camera evidence. So oh yeah, that's actually really good. You've got nice straight arms, which is another common mistake. Sometimes people just pull with the arms. Yeah, no, let me show you. Yeah.
Wow,
That's really good.
I look better than you did, actually.
Yeah, totally. Look at that. We've fixed her already. Another common mistake can be actually moving a bit too slowly. So I think Cath's speed's about right, but maybe a little bit more. You'll find with a bit more speed, you actually have a bit better balance from side to side, and you can sort of really start to get a feel for that balance point as well. So try it a little bit faster. Don't forget to cover your back brake, because then if it does suddenly pop up, you can grab that back brake and it'll bring the front wheel down and you won't fall off the back.
Let's do it.
All right.
Oh, not so good.
Try and think about like really increasing that amplitude and going back. So another common mistake is where people don't go down and back, they just go diagonally. And you're not quite going diagonally, but you could probably concentrate more on going fully down and then back. So it's really defined as a down and then a back, and not a sort of or cut the corner. Yeah, exactly. One thing that's actually really useful to do is, whilst you're just riding along, like you can maybe see Cath in the background, is practicing that, bringing your hips down and then going back without actually trying to get the front wheel off the ground. You're just literally making sure that you're feeling that straight down and then back. And actually, to make sure your bum's coming really low to the tyre, you can come down and then it's almost like a downward, it's like so this is what down and back, but actually I can't actually bend my thumb that far, but make it into sort of like a wonky L. So it's going like that down and then even more down as you go back. And that's really going to help in making sure that when you do go for the full movement, it's correct. So when you're just trying to practice, put it in a slightly harder gear so you can pedal up to a nice speed, then stop pedaling so you can just be like, right, I'm ready, and then do your movement, rather than spinning at it a bit wildly and then going, oh no, because you don't have time to like relax, be in that ready position and then do it. You're not giving yourself any kind of setup time. Yeah, exactly. So this one, it was really good. So you really did get that really strong down and then back. That was brilliant. And you were saying you felt the balance point a little bit there?
Yeah, it's that things went a bit lighter and suddenly it was easier to control.
Yeah.
I pushed with my feet a little bit more than I normally would, so I felt like I was putting a bit more kind of woomph into it.
Yeah. Cool.
So a little bit more than I was expecting, to be fair.
Yeah.
But it does work.
So when you did your down and back, you kind of pushed through your feet at the same time. Yeah, exactly. Nice one. Yeah, that's cool. I hadn't mentioned it, but yeah, that's a really good little tip. Well done. Nice. this one's just a little tip. When you do your manual, try and keep your heels down, because what that does is helps to push through with your feet, and that helps to pop the front wheel up as well. Like, it works in conjunction with that hip movement. So that's worth having a think about as well. It's like the icing on the cake, or the cherry on the cake, just to bring those heels down as well. There's a few other mistakes that Cath doesn't do, which is brilliant. One of them is really pulling with the arms. That is not going to get that front wheel up in the ground, or at least it's not going to get it up in a sustainable way that you can actually use out on the trail. So you might have noticed there that I didn't do anything with my hips, I just tried to pull with my arms. Now that is a really, really common mistake, and it's actually really hard, like really trying to pull up like that. It's just not going to get that front wheel up on the ground. So be careful not to try and rely on your arms. Really, really focus on using those hips and that down and back motion.
Okay, so I've got the chin up, which we see works. No nodding dog. And I think for me it's now trying to find that balance point. And just having the confidence to push into the bike to get that up. And just practice. Practice.
And just really, like, so yeah, you've got your head looking up now, it's really good. So now, anytime that I've seen you in the past few minutes of practicing where it hasn't worked quite well, it's where you haven't quite done a strong enough down. It's like you need to do a nice down and a nice back in a sort of almost separate but connected movement. And it is just now going to be about practice until you start to find that balance point, and then, you know, over time you'll be able to actually go along on the back wheel if you want. But to be honest with you, the real purpose of this is to get people to feel how it is to get the front wheel off the ground, so that you can then take that to the trail. And on the trail you don't actually go so big, but you understand the movement to pop the front wheel up, so you can just go over a root or a rock or whatever. And we'll move to the trail now and have a look and see how we're going to use this skill out in the real world.
It'll be good for puddles.
It'll be brilliant for puddles. It won't get your feet wet.
Let's do it. I feel a lot better about my manuals. I know I can do them. When do I use one?
Okay, well, let's have a look at that right now. We're actually still in a really good spot because there's a little stream right there. So manualing over streams or even dips that don't have water in is really good. And then let's make our way down the trail and see what else we can find to just pop that front wheel over.
Okay.
Yeah, so here's a prime spot where we could do a little manual just to get us over these routes. Now, you might think to yourself, oh, there's no way I can get from here all the way down to there, which is about, I don't know, a bike and a half or 2 bikes long. So what you could do is just roll this bit and then manual this bigger route, so that you're getting just unweighting over the sort of greater obstacle, if you like. And that can work really well. And actually, something to mention is when you're on the trail trying to manual over stuff, it's not quite such a big movement. It's not quite such a big down and back, because you've got a bit of speed and your front wheel's going to bump off of this obstacle. So it's more like you just sort of let it bump off of it and you just very subtly move the weight back. It's really similar to the motion that you do for a drop, which, viewers, you can check out in my video just up here. So it's really similar, but because we've been practicing the full movement, the down and back and using the hips, you're going to feel more comfortable about being up on that back wheel, even if it's just for a moment, just to pop yourself over some routes. So I'm
using the trail to help me actually lift the bike, as opposed to having to do my car park.
Yeah, I would say so. So let's have a look at me doing it. I'm going to aim to start my manual off of this route here. I'm going to try and keep my front wheel up all the way down to the final route there, just past that big rock. And then you can tell us what you're going to do and you do your go. So hopefully you saw that my body movement there was really quite subtle, but it did just get my front wheel over this stuff. And because we've been practicing in the car park, I felt comfortable on my back wheel. So now it's your turn.
Well, all of it.
It's up to you. So you could choose to try doing it from where I popped my front wheel up, or if you just wanted to go from the bigger route just there, then so whatever you fancy.
I might try just a bike length version as opposed to the full whack, because the full whack looks quite intimidating right now.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well, I'll give you some feedback. Yeah, that was really cool. Nicely done. And yeah, it's absolutely fine to pick a little bit like you did, bite-sized chunks, and just like with this, obviously we've got quite a long length you can try it. You can have a few goes at, but it gives you the idea that you can do it.
It's possible, kids. You can do it too.
She needs a confidence boosting. You can do it. So you can also use manuals for popping up and over rocks, or well, anything that's on the trail. So you're going to have to use your imagination a little bit here, because we're actually on this side of the road, but there's, you know, quite a good rise there. So let me show you how you would use a manual to get up over that. Oh, so I don't actually do that much. I'm just unweighting the front wheel so that it can pop up, and I fling my weight forward a bit so that the back wheel can follow, and that's how you can get up over lumps like that, even a tall curb. That's the way to do it. Yeah, nice. That's how you do it. Okay, so we've seen some great examples of how you can use the manual out on the trail, perhaps to manual some roots, up over a lump. You could manual up a curb or down a curb. You can just use it anywhere. So next time you're out riding, just try and spot things and just think, oh, I could just pop the front wheel up for this. And eventually that will become second nature. And also we've had a brilliant morning with Cath. She's seen some real improvements. Like, we've certainly seen some of the common mistakes and covered a few others. So that's been really cool. Hope you've enjoyed it.
I have, thank you.
That's really cool. And yeah, so it just remains to say thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to press like, press subscribe so that you don't miss any more tutorials like this one, and I'll see you next time.